I want to talk about this idea of intimacy and how it affects your life and how it's probably running you. It's running everything that you do. It's running your soul, running your day-to-day, running all your decisions. Now, I've been doing this for 12 years, and in that 12 years, the idea of intimacy has changed every single year to me. I've always learned something new to it. So there could be like 15 levels to it. I don't know. Every year, I'm learning something new. So the first level of intimacy, let's just go through that, okay? This is what I wish I could tell myself when I was younger. What I wish I knew when I was like growing up, 10 years of the experience of this, what I wish somebody told me, they never told me, how it would have changed everything. So this is what I would tell my younger self. First layer. Let's talk about something called generational therapy, okay? You probably get your intimacy blueprint from your upbringing and your parents. You get it somehow, some way. You might have had a dad that was an alcoholic and he never gave you any affection. Maybe he was a little bit rough, beat you up a little bit. That affected you. How did that affect you? Well, you have a rough exterior. You don't let people get close. But you might wonder why you're lonely. You could also, another experience is be the youngest child. And as the youngest child, you always got hand-me-down clothes from your parents and from your older brothers and sisters. And those hand-me-down clothes, you never got anything new for yourself. Because you never got anything new, you never felt a sense of independence. You never felt worthy. So now you got to go out and tackle the world. And what you want to do is you want to like show them that you can be independent. And you're always trying to prove yourself to people. Or maybe your dad was raised by a single parent mom. Because your dad was raised by a single parent mom, he's very affectionate and nurturing, empathetic. But he's not as strong as he needed to be. Not as dominant or tough as he needed to be. He couldn't teach you that skill. He couldn't teach you how to be a man's man. And because of that, you feel a little bit soft yourself. Your boundaries are weak. You have problems in the workplace. You can't get respect all the time. You don't know where to draw the line. People are always taking advantage of you because you're too nice, right? All these things happen based on how our parents dealt with their own bullshit problems of their parents, okay? And it snow piles onto you, and now you're just trying to figure it out. We're all just reacting to how our parents treated us, okay? Can I use your example you told me? Is that okay or no?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so our friend here in the first row, in the middle row, he's on a program with us called the Immersion Program. And one of the things he said to me was, Madison, I want to talk to you because I had been orphaned by both of my parents when I was 10 years old. Yeah. Is that correct? So you haven't met them yet?
I met them on Skype. Yeah.
On Skype, okay, but not face to face. So imagine that, being orphaned at 10 years old, what would that do to you in terms of intimacy? Now, whether you actually deserve intimacy with people or not, you would think that you don't deserve it. You would believe that, why do other people have this, but I don't? I experienced it myself. My situation was my dad left when I was really super young. He left when I was like 2 years old, like a baby, okay? 2 years old, which isn't too bad in the black community. 2 years old. And at 2 years old, what was kind of crazy is like, I just found out like a few years ago, I have 5 half brothers and sisters. I didn't know, and he left them all too. My dad was at least consistent with his fucking record. He was a consistent player, man. He left all his family equally. Gotta respect that, you know what I mean? Gotta respect that winning streak he had. So one of my younger brothers spent all of his university money that he saved in Africa. By the way, when you save university money in Africa, it's like saving like 4 times a lifetime of money. It's hard to save money in Africa. The average person in Africa makes like 20% of what you make. So he saved his university money to go find our dad and to finally find him. When he found him, he was so happy. Spent time with him, spent a week with him, introduced him to the kids. My dad was like, all right, I'll be right back. I'll see you in a bit. Peaced out, never came back. My brother was so angry, so angry. He's the angriest guy that I know of for good reason. For a fucking good reason. For a really, really good reason he's angry, right? He spent all of his life savings to go find my dad. So of course he'd be pissed off. It's very fair, right? So I can't even imagine what you're going through, maybe like 25% of what you're going through. Not even like the full 100. I can't even imagine what that's like. But I can try to put myself in those shoes and understand. So what I did is I decided to go back to Africa, like Dave Chappelle. I went to Africa and I went back to my village, and I went to like my father's house, and I saw the house and everything. And I heard a story about how he was the oldest son, okay? And our grandfather took the house from him and gave it to the younger son. Okay, took the house, took the land, took the village, gave it to the younger son. That pissed him off so much. When my grandfather died, my dad didn't even go to the funeral. You know what he did? He went swimming. Cold. He said, I wish that man died twice. He went swimming. He took his cousin. He's like, yo, Kofi, let's go swimming. Fuck my dad. They didn't even go to the funeral. Okay? So, my grandfather was meeting my dad, took away the house in the village. My dad's like, fuck family, can't trust anybody. No surprise he left when I was 2 years old. He doesn't care, he doesn't give a fuck about family. No surprise, right? How could he? Because his life was that way. But I had to try to stop it. You know what I'm saying? I had to try to stop it in my life because I don't want to progress that situation. I had to let go of the anger to not progress the situation. Now, my dad not being around and me having like a female role model in my life, my mom, probably is what got me into dating advice. That's how it happened. That's how it happened. Dad was around, mother was around. Mother didn't teach me how to be good with like females, right? Mother was very nice, but didn't teach me any of that. So I had to like figure it out. I was clueless. I thought I didn't deserve intimacy. I thought that I couldn't get it from anywhere. I thought that it wasn't meant for me. And it probably happened because of the situation I was in. But I thought it was me. I thought I was the broken one. Now there's some of you in this room right now that have had crazy situations. I can look at you in your faces and I can't even tell the situations you've been in, but I can tell that by the weight that you have in your eyes that something has happened to you. Something that was unfair. Let me tell you, you're probably deserving of love. You all deserve love. I love each and every single one of you, even though I haven't met you before, previously. You're here for a reason, and there's a block that's happening in your life. That block makes you feel like you don't deserve intimacy. And people see it when you walk up to them. And that's what they call being creepy. Mm-hmm. That's what being creepy is. Okay, I'm so like, let's say I was walking up to this guy, and I was like this is going on in my head. I don't deserve intimacy, but I like him. But like, I don't deserve intimacy. I haven't had it in my life. But hey, how you doing? And it comes out like that. And somebody goes, ew, that person's being creepy. That person's being weird. It's like, yo, you don't know what happened the last 20 years. You don't know what happened the last 20 years. It's coming out all weird because like you want intimacy. You got into this dating stuff because you thought that you wanted genitalia from the opposite sex. That's what you thought you wanted. And at first, that might be true. That might be the first step in your journey where you want that because you've been hurt so bad. You've been crushed so much that you're like, if I just got some physical attention, that would solve it. And listen, if you've never had physical attention from the opposite sex, it's not a bad place to start because it's a start. People are like, man, why would you do that? It's like, yo, do you know what it's like to not have the physical attention from the opposite sex? It drives you crazy. If you want to just have physical relations, it'd be very easy for you to do. Very simple for you to do. But why are you not doing it? Why are you in this room? Truth is, you're here for a reason. You're in this room for a very, very clear reason. The reason is, whether you know it or not, you want intimacy. That's why you're actually here. And you can disguise it in all bunch of ways. You just want to feel worthy of intimacy. So the first, let's say 2 years of my experience, if I was a beginner, what I'd say is, beginner, you just want to get physical intimacy, right? But the truth is, what you actually want is to feel worthy of intimacy. So let's say you've been studying this dating advice for about a year or 2 years. You've had some success. You've been on dates. If you weren't a virgin, maybe if you were a virgin, maybe you're not a virgin anymore. Okay? Maybe you've had a couple great experiences. You maybe met somebody at a club, somebody in your school, somebody at work. You've dated a few people, and now you feel great. Or some guys that will come in here, some people that will come in here and say, you know what my goal is? And don't be ashamed of it. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand. Some people, it's true. Listen, my goal is I want to sleep with 50 people. His hand goes up, okay? Hand goes up. So why is that a goal? Why do you think it's a goal? Not shaming, just why do you think it's a goal?
I don't know. It's probably a self-worth kind of thing. Like if I do this, then I can, feel good about myself.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to self-worth. If I sleep with 50 people, that will mean that I have achieved something, that I'm attractive. That I'm attractive enough to have those people. That means a lot of people were attracted to me now, where they weren't before. That's what it means. So it doesn't mean that the idea is bad or good. I'm not even going to go into that. It just means that you want to feel worthy of the attraction that everybody else gets. You just want to be on an equal field. I think the majority of people, whether they like to admit it or not, make most of their intimacy decisions not under the best situations. A lot of people say, I don't fall in love with my head, I fall in love with my heart, right? But what is your heart really? How do we actually feel attraction for someone? Well, we usually do it for the wrong reasons. So somebody teases you, like, you know what? I like everything about you except for that haircut. You're like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What's wrong with my hair? And it kind of sparks something in you, and you feel something, and you can mistake that feeling for an emotion of attraction, right? It's called wanting recognition from somebody. Adler would call it that in psychology. In dating advice, we call it validation, okay? But the thing is, we take it too far, and sometimes sometimes with this stuff, people will take it to the extent where they're using these, let's say, dating techniques to prey on somebody with low self-esteem. Now, how does it work with finding if somebody's interested? Like if you ask somebody, are you interested? You would think they can make a rational human decision to be like, yes, I'm interested in you, or I'm not. Unfortunately, has anybody ever tried to ask somebody, are you interested? Like if you were okay, you have? Yeah. Like if you ask, let's say you walk up to 100 people, just had a 5-minute conversation with them and say, hey, are you interested in going on a date? What goes through somebody's mind when you say, are you interested in going on a date? Like the list of barriers, list of factors that go into their mind. Like the first, you guys have no idea, right? You're like, I have no idea. The first of all would be like, is this person that I'm looking at somebody I'd want to be with in the future? That's a huge question. They've known you for 5 minutes. It's a huge question. Another question is, does this person make me, any way relate to how I see myself? This is the kind of person that I want to be with or I want to be like. That goes through their mind. They start thinking, have they been with anybody else recently that's better than you? That goes through their mind. Are they available? Do they have free time the next week? That goes through their mind. Are they stressed out about the week and they don't even know how the week is going? That goes through their mind. There's a whole bunch of factors that goes into somebody's mind before they actually answer, yes, I'm interested. It's such a hard question to answer. We think it's an easy question to answer, but in reality, it's actually pretty crazy. The way that interest works is they're just interested in the feeling they feel when they're around you. That's how we operate as people. And that's why the idea of do you like me is so it should be so simple, but it's not. It should be, but it's not. Do you like me? Well, somebody's gonna say, in my gut feeling, I don't feel it. Anybody ever hear that? I'm just not feeling it. Anybody hear that ever in your life? No? Yes? Show of hands. Yes? Okay. I'm just not feeling it. What does that mean? You ever meet somebody and you and the person are a perfect match? You have the same passions, you're on the same sports team, you're reading the same books, you go to their music albums, the same music. You're like, oh my gosh, you're at the same playlist, I just bought it. Then you go out and you're eating at a restaurant and they Instagram story the same restaurant you're eating at. And you're like, oh my gosh, this person, me and person should totally hang out. Then you maybe go for a coffee with them and you're just I'm just not feeling it. And you're like, what do you mean? What is there not to feel? What is there not to feel? Right? It's kind of crazy. The idea, yeah.
Just had exactly that thing with my wife, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Totally.
Current wife or past wife?
Late wife, unfortunately. She died in a car accident, but she at first when we met in high school, she totally blew me away, by similar line, we're not clicking, basically, it's not working. Took me 3 years, but yeah, we were very happy for 14 years later. Well,
amazing, yeah. Amazing. 3 years of I'm just not feeling it. That's sticking in there.
RSD was not existing back then.
Gotcha. You got the flowers back there. Gotcha. Yeah. Cool, man. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so he's he said right now, 3 years of his ex-wife, before he met her, she was just not feeling it. And that's unfortunate because I think we missed out on a lot of connections, people that would be great for us, people that we could get along, have a chemistry with, but we just aren't in the zone. If you hear people judge affection or love or attraction by who gives me butterflies in my stomach, that could also be a very toxic thing as well. Going for whoever excites you, because it could be exciting you in a wrong way, right? You could be excited to the bad boy, right? And that's because your dad was not home when you were younger, or you could be attracted to the over-nurturing figure because maybe your mother was not nurturing for you the way you'd like it to be, right? That's like, who gives you butterflies in your stomach? The reasons are all kinds of crazy. Has it ever happened? Anybody been on a date that was great, it was physically fun, amazing, thought it was a connection, and the person did not call you back? Show of hands. Yeah, I've had that happen as well. Okay, so like 90% of the room goes up, the hands go up. No shit, I've had that happen as well. And you're like, what went on there? Why did that person not call me back? Everything was great. We had a great connection. We were talking till the sun came up. Da da da. Like the physical connection was great. You don't know why. It's because they had a red light in their mind that was not discussed. Make sense? They had a red light in their mind that was not discussed. Let me hear you say that. They had a red light in their mind that was not discussed. And rather than talk about it with you, they went home, they processed it, and they're like, I'm just gonna ghost. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna ghost. That's very popular in our society these days, ghosting. Yes, you have that here? It's like an American term. Okay, it's like, ghosting is like you just disappear like a ghost from someone's life. They don't know what happened to you, they don't know if you're dead, they don't know where you went, just like, woo, gone. Right? Don't answer the phone, they don't answer your text messages, and all of a sudden you're blocked on Instagram. You're like, what happened? What happened? Why am I blocked? We had a great time. So that's happened to 90% of the people in this room. And that happens because there's a red light in their mind that isn't discussed. And rather than, they don't have the courage to bring it up. They don't have the courage to bring it up. So they don't bring it up, you don't bring it up, and it's just easier to walk away. Dust your hands and walk away. Okay? So my whole thing, what I do is, I try to bring them up as quickly as possible. I try to bring up the red lights as quickly as possible. I'm like, boom, 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 boom. Bring them up as quickly as possible so I can discuss it, get out the way, and everything is easy peasy. And what usually happens when I do that is the person I'm interested in will come out to see me way quicker. We'll spend more time together.